converted mon here. Called by God podcast channel is the name of the channel. And this video is called Why Science Can't Disprove God, Genesis 1:1 Revealed. Oh, okay. This should be good. Am I loud enough for everybody? Okay. All right. That's enough of that. All right. So I'm skipping past the part where they can't define the word atheist or agnostic correctly, because we've covered that before. Apologists never ever get what atheist is. Like, oh, it's a worldview. It's a worldview. It's a world. No, it's not. Stops. Oh, and then in the comments, you know, the guy's like, oh no, but see, well, even though it's not a worldview, actually, well, it is a worldview. So see, this guy down here, you know, Ghost and Machines with a Z here, he said, no, atheism has nothing to do with the worldview. It's you know, and so yeah, he's right. And then they said atheism might say it's just about not believing in God. So no, atheism says nothing. The word says it. That there is no but it also shapes how people see the world, like where we come from and what life means. No, it doesn't. Those are beliefs that you have about atheism. Atheism in and of itself doesn't lead anybody to believe or not believe anything at all, because it's simply a word that describes your position. That's it. Now, you're an atheist, so therefore that's going to shape your beliefs or whatever. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. People that were never introduced to God may or may not have different beliefs at all. And there's no way to say what, you know, that they're not believing God shapes or doesn't shape that. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But these are additional beliefs that you have about atheism that aren't supported at all. So, no, it's just a description. And then they said Genesis tells us God made everything. Yeah, well, I don't really care what Genesis says. So, anyways, but yeah, let's check out the part that matters. Why is there no empirical evidence for God's existence? That's a good question. Man, I hope that they answer that question and don't dodge it. I fully expect them to explain this in a coherent manner without any obfuscation or any dodging of the question whatsoever. I'm sure that they have a perfectly reasonable answer to the question, right? And okay, I'm building up enough. Okay, we know that they've got nothing, right? We know. That's the joke. They don't have anything. But how much nothing do they have to offer? Let's find out.
Why is there no empirical evidence for God's existence? Now, this question raises the question of verifiability, questioning why there is no scientifically proof of God's existence. So I know you spoke about, you know, how the atheists, they don't even believe in God, but agnostics believe that it could be a possibility, but based on evidence, they need to see something like, yeah. So why is there no empirical evidence of God's existence?
Well, honestly, Brother Nick, I think the question really beckons the more of a specific question.
All right, so we're off to a really shaky start here. I'm not going to answer the question you asked. I'm going to answer a different version of the question that you asked. Why not just answer the question directly? You know, it's not a loaded question. It was a fair question to ask. Oh no, I'm gonna change the question to something else. Oh, okay, yeah.
Is what tangible, material items or evidence is there to show that God does exist?
Yes, that's what empirical evidence is. So, yeah. Do you have any empirical evidence of God? You're just restating what empirical evidence is. Well done.
That's more of what the question is asking.
Right, right.
Because anytime we talk about empirical evidence, now we're getting into, of course, the field of science. You being a scientist know that empirical evidence is what backs everything that you do, everything that you practice. And of course, when we're talking about an uncreated creator.
Mhm.
Okay, so why is there no empirical evidence for God? Well, we're talking about an uncreated creator. Well, wait a minute. That didn't answer the question. Now you've introduced an idea that you now need to prove. How do you know that it is an uncreated creator in the first place? What method did you use to get to that conclusion?
When we're talking about the unmoved mover, one of the things I like to just even break down, even give credence to, is Genesis 1 and 1. And it's hard to believe any of the rest of the Bible if you don't get Genesis 1 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
But Genesis 1 and 1, that very first verse, gives the whole entire encompassing of science itself.
Not even a little. It doesn't do any of that.
In the beginning, that's time.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's force. Created, that's action. The heaven, that's the earth, the universe, and the heavens and the earth, that's matter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we take just the very first beginning, in the beginning, who started the time clock?
God.
There had to be somebody outside of time that initiated time.
All right, so we're straight into what you think about God and what your beliefs about God are. So your answer to why there's no empirical evidence of God is, well, look at the Bible and it says stuff. So in Hebrew, you could look at this, and the phrase is Bereshith. So there was just God and the divine plan for the universe, and that's it. So, okay, that's nice, but that's just what the book says. That doesn't answer the question of why there's no empirical evidence for God. So, but you, just that's nothing. You've given us no reason why there's no empirical evidence for God. You haven't said that. You said basically you've admitted that there's no empirical evidence for God, but then your answer is, well, look at Genesis 1:1. Why should we do that? That doesn't tell us anything about God, because you haven't established Genesis 1:1 as being anything that we should care about. Wow. We did not answer the question. So the answer to the question is because Bible. That's the answer to the question. In the beginning, God created heaven and the earth. Which earth? Our earth? Earth in general? Matter? What do you mean heaven? Do you mean a heavenly realm, or do you mean heaven as in the stars? There's a problem with the English, right? And even when you go to Hebrew, there's still problems, and none of it is what we observe in science. Big Bang cosmology negates Genesis 1:1. Everything was created all at the same time. And stars were the first thing that, well, not even stars were, atoms were the first things that formed. So that's not in there. It just says nothing about that. So it doesn't get anything right about how things actually work. It doesn't say that the universe was at a cajillion degrees, what we call the Planck temperature, and then slowly cooled down. It doesn't say that. So it doesn't get the universe right. So who cares what it says since it doesn't get anything right? So your reason that there's no empirical evidence for God is because Genesis 1:1 doesn't say that there's empirical evidence for God. Is that it? I guess. Just that's it, right?
Mm,
So if they couldn't be within time and start time
right.
and create time.
What?
We know that unless there is something outside of the existence of time,
What?
which then we get into eternity.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
They
What?
had to be outside time to create time, henceforth in the
What?
beginning.
What do
And
you
also,
mean?
if there was a beginning, there had to be a
How can you
beginner.
be outside time?
And so, literally, contrast is the mother to definition. And we
What?
know that science reason from cause to
What?
effect. And
Right.
so,
Huh?
time is the effect what caused it.
What?
Mm,
Time's the effect that causes. What? I don't think you know what the hell you're talking about. So, a bunch of stuff that's not answering the question. Got it.
I like that.
Yeah.
And so
I
then
like
it
that.
beckons the question, who is this individual that
No,
started time?
it doesn't beckon the question. That's just you're just asserting things without any proof or evidence. How do you not have any evidence for any of this? Where's the evidence for any of this? No evidence.
In the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Then it says God.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Your book says a thing. So what? My book says a thing. This book over there says a thing. The lobster says it. Actually, the lobster gets it closer to how things actually are. It actually says 13 billion years ago. Your book doesn't say that. So it gets that wrong. Who cares what your book says? Where's the evidence?
God is the force of all things.
That's nice. Do you have proof of that? Oh, no, you don't.
Wow.
Think about that, brother Nick.
Just think about it. Okay, yeah.
That is amazing, man.
Yeah.
And even just
Yeah.
listening to your take on Genesis 1:1.
What?
As a scientist, as
You're
you
not a
alluded to.
wait. The guy on the right is a scientist, supposedly. Press F to doubt in chat. Press F. I just go to their video and type in F, and just post that as your comment, and they'll be like, "Why was that? What the heck? Why is there all these Fs on the description? What's going on?" No, I doubt scientists. What do you mean scientists? Like, what kind of scientists? Like, really? Scientists? I don't know about that.
I thought about this question, and even when I think about for the atheists or even agnostics that even posing these questions, because these questions are like frequently asked questions.
Oh yeah.
That are asked about it because they trying to figure God out, like put God in the experiment.
Yeah.
Come on.
So even like when I think about empirical evidence,
Right.
I said empirical evidence came about in the 16th, 17th century.
Empirical evidence came about in the 16th, 17th centuries. Before that, there wasn't any empirical evidence for anything. It was great. It was really weird time. So, it was 1599, and there was no empirical evidence. Yeah, it didn't exist. Very weird realm, actually. Nothing really existed back then. Yeah, everything was just nothing. And it all just floated around somewhere, I guess, in space as nothing because empirical evidence didn't exist back then. Yeah, that's how that works. Sure, why not? Yeah, didn't get invented, so it doesn't exist. All right, well, they don't have anything at all, and this was a waste of my time. Bleep. I mean, I would love to point out logical fallacies, but other than God of the gaps, I mean, there's really not a lot to talk about here. Just bald assertions. Look at our book. That's why there's no empirical evidence for God, because Bible. Oh, okay. Thanks for playing, I guess. Guess I'll just keep on looking for evidence of God and not finding any. Oh well. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay skeptical. Be skeptical. Oh yeah. He also, I think he said in the comments that 8 years ago he was very, very skeptical, or maybe that was a different video. I don't remember now. And I was like, well, that's your problem. You should have stayed skeptical. So until next time, stay skeptical. And after that, be skeptical. No, wait, that's not how the ending goes. It goes stay skeptical, and then wait, no, it's be skeptical, and then geez.